welcome to Home Office Weekly. Today is March the 12th, and this is a special edition, and we are obviously entering into uncharted territory, and we want to just talk to you about some of the game plan that we've come up with thus far. I will say that you'll be probably seeing a lot of us here in the near future, just saying here's kind of what's going on and giving you updates and keeping you as informed as possible. So,
absolutely,
Bob.
We're going to run through a quick list today, and we're also going to provide this by email to you later. These are just some ideas that we came up with that hopefully will keep your office a little bit of a cleaner and safer environment. And it also addresses some other questions that we think you probably have at this point in time. First one up here is that we're going to make it known to folks that we know what's going on. We're going to put an announcement on the eagle.com website. And we're also going to provide you with a printed notice that you can provide. We're going to have you put it on your door, we're going to have you put it on your front counter, and probably your closing booths to tell people that, hey, we love you and we want to take care of you, but we also have to take some precautions. We're not going to do any handshaking and so forth. So those will be coming to you pretty shortly. Alan's drafting that up on the spot here. So
it's ready to go.
It's ready to go. We're going to ask that you remove shared items, candy bowls, cookie trays, things in your office that people reach into and share. Another one that was a little bit of a tougher call, but we're going to ask that you discontinue use of the toy box for the time being. For those of you who handle in-person payments and inbound mail, we're going to ask that you become a lot more aware of hand washing, keeping your workspace clean. After you do those things, it's not too much, in my opinion, for you to wear disposable gloves while you open up the mail. Feel free. It's not silly at this point in time.
If you can get them.
If you can get them. Speaking of that, we've developed a little short list of things that we think your location should probably have a supply of. Hand sanitizer. Lysol wipes, or any other approved wipe that kills viruses. It'll say it on the label.
We've attempted to buy this stuff centrally, by the way, and it's impossible. So it is on you to do the best you can to try to find these things, and if not, wash. Okay.
And if one of you comes across, you go, oh my God, I've found 80 gallons of hand sanitizer. Go ahead and buy it. I promise you, we'll be able to use it among locations that can't find it. Plenty of soap, plenty of paper towels. In the next few months, you're going to be washing your hands over and over and over. So pick up on those things, and as well as disposable gloves. So that's a short list. Again, we'll provide this to you. Next item up on the list here is loan closings. We want you to handle them as quickly as possible. Obviously, don't ignore questions, but your customer's going to be interested in getting out of there as much as you are interested in getting them out of there.
They've always felt that way. Just now is the reason to do that.
Right. So provide your customer with a pen. It's theirs to keep.
Yeah.
For now, we're going to let you use the sign here stickers where they need to sign. That should help keep you from having to shuffle the documents back and forth and point where they need to sign. After the closing, clean the booth with Lysol wipes. Wash your hands if you've handled the loan documents, driver's license, pay stubs, etc. Get up from the booth and take care of that. It's a good idea to wipe down the front counter and door handles during the day. Next thing up is we do anticipate having some relaxed deferment standards in place starting in April and probably running through June. We'll have more information on that to come. Again, though, at the end of the day, we want to work with the customers. So I think Ed's going to address that a little bit more here shortly. All managers should have the most recent cell number for each employee. I think you probably have that, but I would ask you to pass that list along to Dawn, please. This next one's a biggie. If you're impacted by this, we'd ask that you contact your manager. Talk to your manager about what's going on. Your manager is going to contact us, and we're going to provide you with up to 10 floating holidays this year in addition to your PTO, and that's to be used towards time lost during this event. So again, and if you have further circumstances and you say, well, I need more than that or something, we'll work with you individually on that.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. So we're going to suspend all regional visits at this point in time and ask that any of those visits be done via the computer. We're going to suspend all in-person internal audits. They'll be done remotely. We're asking that there's no office-to-office contact between employees, between managers, for work purposes. So if both managers feel like you absolutely have to have contact with the other office, I'd like for you to both agree on that and contact Mark Smith and get his blessing on it.
Yeah, the idea is we don't want to cross-pollinate, right? Isn't that what
Right.
you were saying earlier? I mean, that makes sense. You know, at the same time, if you need help, reach out. We will help you. If you're in a short-staffed situation, et cetera, we will do everything we can within our limited ability with 80 operations to do what we can do to kind of to assist you.
Right. We are suspending field calls until further notice.
Which is really an extension of the same thing. Field calls are a luxury, frankly, that if you're short-staffed, you just don't have the time to do. You've got to put out the fire that's there. We just think it doesn't make a lot of sense right now. If you have somebody who is at least in contact with you, but they can't pay at the present time due to whatever the situation is, especially if it's from this, hey, we'll give them time. We won't just charge the account off willy-nilly. We're going to work through it to the end, but that's probably too much information. There'll be plenty more of these editions coming out to where we talk through these things.
Right.
Okay, or conference calls.
We have some scheduled visits, people coming into home office. They may or may not be canceled. We'll let you know about those
Probably
shortly.
canceled.
Probably will be. Importantly, we're going to abide by local health orders. If someone comes in and says you're shut down, or if that's what the recommendation is from the local officials, we'll shut down. That's just the way things are going to be. I will say this. We anticipate that home office would be available and operational even during a quarantine. So don't need to worry about paychecks being on time and so forth. We anticipate those things to go on a normal schedule.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah,
He's been on it.
much more to come on that as well.
Yeah.
My portion here, I'm going to wrap up with common sense, which is, the World Health Organization announced that something like 80% of the cases should be mild. Just bear that in mind. If you're ill, stay home. Please don't come in and spread it. Managers, if your employees are ill, send them home. Again, common sense, and recognize that Facebook is not what we would call a news organization. So get your news from reliable sources. I like foxnews.com or usatoday.com and read up on these things. So that's all I've got for the list. We're going to send this around to you. You'll have it shortly. Again, there's going to be so much more coming out on this and other details. Rather than just flood it with questions, be patient and we'll get to you with more details.
With regard to the notice that you're going to get, in that notice, it does encourage the customer to pay you with a debit card, money order, or check. We're discouraging that customer from bringing in cash. We just don't want that interaction, and then who knows what's on those bills. Having said that, we're not saying you can't accept cash if they come in, but our notice that we're going to post and to the public strongly encourages them to bring in a debit card or money order, or do that by mail or phone that in. But we're not prohibited.
And if you're touching cash, don't touch your face and use sanitizer directly after it. Use logical precautions. I mean, you got to think through that, obviously, right?
Right, just common sense stuff.
All right. The other things I want to talk about just quickly is, in our lifetime, there will always be worries. That is part of the human existence, and we've been through 9/11 together at Eagle. We've been through the 2008 crash, and this is probably right up there amongst the scariest things. But I don't think it is actually that scary. But what we will admit is we don't know, right? And we'd rather err on the side of caution. We've never faced anything like this in our lives. And we don't, we're going to provide the best information we can, but the number one prevailing message that I want you to know is that we care about you, and you're what matters. We want your family and you to be safe, and we love you, and we just don't want anything to happen to you. And so that's first and foremost, and we'll figure the rest out as we get through this, but we will get through this, and we'll get through it together. We need to be kind of that reassuring rock for them to say to our customers, hey, if you're being impacted, call and talk to me, and I promise you, we'll find a way through this. We're going to figure this out. The beauty is that we do know in the summer, viruses tend to dissipate. right? And so we tend to think once we get the heat of the summer in here and the humidity that this will have passed. And if it were to reappear or some other strain of this, because I guess the coronavirus has been around for a while, just this is a particular strain. If another strain of it, just like influenza, etc., that we'll be more prepared for how we'll handle this in the future if it happens again. But all I can say is this is an opportunity for you to be a voice of reason and compassion in a time where it's probably not, there's not a lot of that out there right now. And so this is a defining moment for us, and it should show to not only you, but to your families and your customers and everybody that we do care, and that we're going to get through this together, and we're well positioned to help you the best that we can, and being the customers as you as well. So a friend said, there are only so many productive mental calories that you can burn in a day, and you got to focus on what you can control. And our business is that of caring about people, and obviously running a business, and we just want people to know that we're here for them at this time, and that should prevail above all else in a time of insanity. So that's all I have. So if anybody else, God bless. The final thought is the fear is great, but God is greater. So take care.
Well
Thank
said.
you.